had really bad acne for 15 years and I tried absolutely everything to clear it, okay? I'm talking doxycycline, 4 to 5 different birth control pills, right? I tried every clean and clear, every single topical product possible at CVS, Duane Reade, Target, everywhere. I wouldn't take Accutane because I hated how it sounded. It sounded like really dramatic to me. And I really tried every Retin-A, tretinoin, Retin-A micro, different gel, adapalene, like clindamycin, we're talking the whole thing. And nothing really worked until I defined this 3-part science-backed plan and was able to clear my acne naturally in 30 days. So let's discuss. Hi there, my name is Therese, and after 15 years of acne struggles, I finally cleared my skin naturally and created my acne clearing program, The Clear Code, to help you do the same. 10 years and thousands of clients later, I've made it my life's work to get you clear skin without harsh chemicals, pills, and/or creams. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video. A little bit about my story is that, again, I had really bad acne for 15 years, and the final nail in the coffin, right? The final thing that really transformed things for me was my 15th dermatologist appointment, okay? I headed to this appointment feeling really excited about things, right? I knew this was a younger, mid-30s doctor. I knew she was gonna be able to help me with all the things. And I really needed to know that this was gonna be my last appointment because I kind of couldn't take it anymore, you know what I'm saying? And when I get there, I get into the appointment, I start talking, I start telling her everything, and she's very unsympathetic, brushes me off, offers me like a $500 light treatment that may or may not work, and then shushes me out the door. Does that sound familiar to you? And what was really interesting was I had been struggling with this for so long, but I was also becoming a fitness instructor at the time. So I was learning all about the food, body, mind connection in ways that I had never learned before. And in that appointment, she had said to me, Jill, you've tried everything. I don't know what else to tell you. You've tried everything. I don't know what else to tell you. And I kept repeating that over and over again on my way home. And I realized that I had tried everything but my food. And growing up, I had always asked the question. Every doctor I went to, I would say to them, are you sure that what I'm eating isn't breaking my skin out? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And they would always brush me off, treat me like I was kind of crazy, all the things. And what was so frustrating was I had had the answers all along. I knew that it was my food. I had been asking the right questions. I was right. So the first step I take is I go to the library because that's what I did. I cleared my acne well over 10 years ago. And I wanted to understand the root of the issue. I wanted to understand the root of the thing, right? I wanted to know why I was breaking out. And so I dove deep into medical journals all about the food, mind, body connection, and specifically the food skin connection. And I learned so many things that we were not taught, y'all. I would say the very first piece of information that really blew my mind was a study done by Lorraine Cordain on the paleo diet and how the paleo diet positively impacted skin. I also found his study on the Kitavan Islanders that also illustrated and defined how a specific diet deeply impacted the skin and the body. And I remember reading this study, and basically, I'll summarize it very, very broadly, but it basically said that people who ate really well and didn't eat in a Western diet, but ate in a very specific way, had completely clear skin. There were 100% of the adolescents in a specific town that didn't have acne. And I just remember thinking, growing up, at least half the people I knew had acne. Half, at least. We all had acne and breakouts. And this whole population of people didn't have any. And I knew we were onto something. You know what I'm saying? The second scientific study that I stumbled upon that really spoke to me a lot was a study that basically explained how acne formed. Again, I wanted to understand the root of things. I wanted to know why this was happening in the first place. And this study went over the 4 key processes that you need, the 4 things that you need in place to have a breakout form. 4 key pathogenic processes lead to the formation of acne lesions. Alteration of follicular keratinization leads to comedones. Increased altered sebum production under androgen control, follicular colonization by P. acnes, and complex inflammatory mechanisms that involve both innate and acquired immunity. So basically, you have too many skin cells don't slough off the way they should, you have too much oil, and then P. acnes gets into the pore and a breakout forms. That's why I had acne. So I had these 4 parts of a breakout, and I started to ask myself what I was doing in my daily life, how I was eating, moving, using products, everything, how that was impacting these 4 conditions at the pore. And I realized that a majority of the issue with the current traditional treatments for acne was that a lot of them focused on treating just one part of that kind of 4-part process, right? So they had like benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, for example, would largely treat the bacteria at the pore level. So, okay, cool. That's why too, those products, comment below if this is you, those products work for a few months, maybe even 6 to 12. Then they stop. It's because of antibiotic resistance, basically. The bacteria at the pore becomes resistant to the antibiotic you're using, and then you're screwed. And so those things treated that one aspect of the problem. Other topical products like tretinoin, retin-A micro, any vitamin A products, I realized were only treating another aspect of the problem. They were treating the skin cell turnover issue. So skin cells not sloughing off the way they should. That was what tretinoin did. You know, when you start a topical product and it potentially creates a lot of purgings, you see a lot more breakouts, and that often happens with something like tretinoin or retin-A. That's why. It's because it's increasing skin cell turnover. So, okay, cool. It's addressing that one part, but what about the 3 other factors? The third option that I knew I had used a lot, that I know you've probably used as well, is something like the birth control pill. And what that does is it can kind of, the best way to say it is like artificially lower. That's not really the best way, but you know what I'm saying? Lower testosterone levels, for example. And so what that does is it lowers testosterone levels, which can lower sebum levels at the pore, which is good. Again, it addresses one part of that factor. One. So you have lower sebum levels and as a result, far less acne here. But then the second you stop taking the pill, those sebum levels increase and then you have the other conditions and boom, you have breakout. Okay, so I now have the 4 conditions that create a breakout. I now understand why all of the things that I had tried in the past didn't work. And now I had to define what I was doing in my daily life that was making me break out. So the first thing I noticed was that blood sugar management and acne were linked. Again, in that deep dive into the root of acne breakouts, that very first condition, too many skin cells at the pore. What did that mean, right? Why was that happening? Why did I have too many skin cells at my pore? That made no sense. And so I started to dive deep and I realized that too many skin cells at the pore can often be the result of mismanaged blood sugar levels. So basically, if and when you have a lot of glucose in your system, you're eating a diet very high in sugar, you can have an excess of insulin, which is the hormone that's released to kind of lower and or balance your blood sugar levels out. And then when you have too much insulin, you can have too much insulin growth factor 1, which can increase skin cell levels at the pore. So I realized that by eating all the sugar that I was constantly eating, I was inadvertently causing my acne. It caused more inflammation. This is also why too, if you've ever removed sugar from your diet to clear your skin, you may have seen a positive improvement. It might not have like changed your skin entirely because it's usually not that one thing, but a diet high in sugar can cause a lot of inflammation at the pore level, and when you remove it, you can see a big change. The second aspect of my life that I realized was deeply impacting my skin and those 4 conditions was the gut-skin axis. So basically, I had been on the birth control pill for an extended period of time, on and off different ones. I had also been on doxycycline and or minocycline, all these oral antibiotics to try to treat my acne over the years. And while they kind of maybe worked temporarily, they left me with a really unhealthy gut, right? They left me with a really mixed up gut in terms of too much opportunistic bacteria, not enough beneficial bacteria. I struggle with constipation all the time. And because of that gut-skin axis, because what happens in your gut shows up in your skin, I realized that I was struggling with my acne as well. 2 doctors, John H. Stokes and Donald Pillsbury, had theorized this gut-skin axis, another medical study for you to check out. They had postulated that if and when you added lactobacillus cultures, lactobacillus acidophilus cultures, and or bifidobacterium live active cultures into the body via the digestive system, you could positively impact your skin. And when they did that, they saw an improvement for all of their patients with acne, which was huge, like a huge, huge, huge shift for things, right? And so keeping that in mind, I realized that my chronic constipation issues were deeply impacting my skin. The third thing that was deeply impacting my skin that I knew to be a factor from my kind of lifestyle was the estrogen dominance challenge that I was having coming off the birth control pill. A lot of us, if we have been on the birth control pill for an extended period of time or anything longer than 3 months, and a lot of us have been on it for a decade, right, are gonna struggle with some estrogen dominance. So basically that looks like you're breaking out mid-cycle and or pre-period. And then what happens is your body's just struggling to get rid of it. Maybe you're dealing with some liver detoxification issues at the time of you kind of deal with those both at the same time. And that's definitely what I was dealing with. If you have been on the birth control pill, if you break up mid-cycle, pre-period the most, you have bad PMS and you're chronically constipated and you have acne here, I would almost like bet my life on the fact that you have estrogen dominance. I would. And I knew that I was struggling with that too. I knew that that was impacting sebum levels at the pore, and I knew that was linking and causing a lot of my hormonal acne. So the plan. Now that I'm armed with all of this knowledge, right, all of this scientific information, I devise a plan. I decide I'm going to devise a plan. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this because that dermatologist pissed me off and I'm tired of struggling with my acne. It's been 15 years. I'm over it. And so I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to put a plan in place. And I knew that the plan, that being said, needed to have specific aspects to it to clear my skin naturally, because now I've got all this information. How do I put it all together to make it into a plan that I can actually sustain? Because on that note, let me know if this is you as well. I had tried paleo, I had tried keto, I had tried all these different things to try to clear my acne. And honestly, sometimes they would work, but sometimes I would just end up being more broken out. And now I've been restricted and that doesn't work. And so I knew that whatever I crafted needed to be something that I could follow for life. The plan had 3 basic principles. It needed to balance my blood sugar, it needed to heal my gut, and it needed to balance my hormones. So here's how I balance my blood sugar with a sample meal plan for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you. I'll just kind of outline it because balancing your blood sugar is a long game. You will not be able to do it overnight. And in fact, how they actually measure true blood sugar levels is with your A1C, which is a blood test to determine your average blood sugar levels over 3 months. It's not, I don't know if you've ever gone to the doctor and had your blood, like fasting glucose levels tested. Those are indicative of health and or abnormalities, but the A1C is actually going to be more relevant and or like accurate. So anyways, I wanted to focus on slow and steady wins the race. And I knew that I needed to do that by creating breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that I actually liked. So for breakfast, for example, I would have something like eggs. So scrambled eggs with some avocado, some berries on the side, and then maybe some whole grain toast with some almond butter. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Filled me up. It was kind of sweet with the berries and the almond butter, and I got some crunch from the bread. Like life was good. My snacks were healthy fats and or apples. So like combining some sweet stuff with a healthy fat to blunt the blood sugar rise. For lunch, again, I would always focus on combining healthy fats and healthy proteins with any complex carbohydrates to make sure I didn't skyrocket my blood sugar up and then crash the sky. Like that's no good. And so for lunch, I would have something like chicken with vegetables, but then I would always make sure I had, again, some olive oil, some coconut, maybe for dessert, or some type of healthy fat with it and or complex carbohydrate like sweet potato French fries or roasted carrots, roasted beets. I found that if I just had like chicken and lentils and like romaine lettuce, I was dying in 2 hours. It was just not enough food calorically. It wouldn't work. So I would combine a bunch of things together to make it so that I felt satiated, but also my blood sugar levels were balanced. Dinner was pretty similar to lunch. And again, in the winter, for example, I'll have a lot of roasted vegetables with chicken, lentils, salmon. And then in the summer, I'll have more fresh, raw vegetables. So like romaine, crunchy things that are fresh out of the fridge and cold in July versus something like December, I would make up lentil stews, stuff like that. So I would always focus on having healthy fats and proteins for every meal. And I just did that very, very consistently. I know we hear about consistency as being key. It really is. It's so hard, though, I know. The second aspect of the plan that I put in place to clear my acne naturally was that I focused on gut healing activities at least every day. And so by that, I mean, I started with a quality probiotic. I actually still take that to this day with 10 billion organisms or more. And it also contains Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium. I always had a quality probiotic to re-inoculate my gut and to make sure I had healthy bacteria. Number 2, I always had water, 8 to 16 ounces, believe it or not, first thing every morning. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when we wake up, we're pretty dehydrated chronically. And that is one of the most important fundamental steps you can take is to have water right when you wake up. It kind of kickstarts your digestion. And then the third action step that I focused on was having some other live bacterial culture via my food to support gut healing. So that could be yogurt, that could be kimchi, that could be kombucha. It really depended on the week, the day, the month, what I was doing. But I focused on having one of those a day on average throughout the month or throughout the week. And again, it doesn't have to be super strict. It could be anything for that day. But I just said, okay, I need a live bacterial culture today. Where am I gonna get it. The third part of the plan I designed to clear my acne naturally was that it supported hormonal balancing by encouraging liver detoxification. Again, going back to my estrogen dominance post the birth control pill, I knew I needed support getting rid of excess estrogen. And so I grabbed bitter herbs like dandelion tea, which is a bitter herb, and it supports bioflow from your liver. It's an herbal cholagogue. And basically what it does is it just like stimulates your digestion and makes it easier for you to go to the bathroom. Chef's kiss. And then I also added in a cup of cruciferous vegetables every day. So that can be kale, broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, arugula to again support liver detoxification. This is going to be key as well for you if you've come off the pill recently and you know you struggle with some estrogen dominance just based on everything I've shared. Supporting liver detoxification is everything, and it will absolutely support your whole journey from a clear skin perspective. Now, there are two parts to this plan that you have to know. Number one is how fast you'll improve. And then number two, that it needs to be flexible and sustainable. So the first thing is that you will not clear your skin overnight with a natural acne clearing plan. In fact, if you did, I would be sus. That would be sus. I would wonder what you did. Ideally, if and when you are clearing your acne in a way that's actually designed for you and your skin, it will improve 5 to 10% week over week. So that means if you start with 10 breakouts today and you start a natural acne clearing plan, in 7 days, you're gonna have maybe 9, maybe 9.5. And in another 7 days, you're gonna have about 8, 7.5, 8. It goes that slowly. You don't want it to be fast because if it is, it's probably not sustainable, which brings me to point number 2. There needs to be flexibility in this plan because everybody needs a donut. Everybody needs some cookies. Everybody needs a cupcake. I need pizza and donuts weekly. I do. They're required. And kind of like how I mentioned that blood sugar management and gut health are a long game. Since they're a long game, when and if you have the foundation under you in terms of having stable blood sugar, a healthy gut, adding in a little donut or some pizza every now and then is not going to be a problem. Think about it like this. Imagine you're an athlete that runs 3 miles a day every day for months. And then someone comes to you and they say, hey, we're going to take a 3-day trip somewhere and you're not going to be able to run. Is that going to destroy all of your progress? No, it's just 3 days. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But let's say you're an athlete and you haven't been running, or let's say you're not an athlete and you want to start running and someone says, hey, can we run 5 miles tomorrow? It would absolutely probably stress your body out pretty physiologically. That would be a lot of stress. And that's kind of comparable. So like, let's say you're on an acne clearing plan and your blood sugar levels are balancing out. Your gut health is great. Your hormones are great. You're sleeping well. Your skin looks really good and you have a donut. It's fine. Whereas, let's say your sleep schedule is really off. You know you're struggling with estrogen dominance. You're super constipated all the time. You're eating on a really inconsistent schedule. Your blood sugar levels are all over the place. You feel puffy, tired, exhausted. And then you add on top of that donuts, pizza, cheese, all the things. It's like this perfect storm. And so really the sustainability factor is key because it allows you to add in variables. And on that note, if you are just dying for someone to tell you how to clear your acne naturally, if you know everything that I've been sharing is true in your gut and you are at this point where you're like, I actually just need someone to tell me what to do to start to clear my acne naturally because you've done a lot of the work by yourself and you're at this point where you need to know why you're breaking out, you need to know what to do, and you need to know how to fit it into your lifestyle, I would love to see if we could help you in my acne clearing program, The Clear Code. You can click the link below to apply. It's an application-only program. And what we do is discuss your history with acne, what you've tried, what's worked, what hasn't, all the things. And if it sounds like I can help, if it sounds like the program can help you, I'll share a little bit more about what we do, how it all works, and then we will invite you into the program. But either way, if you're interested in learning more about how you can start to clear your acne naturally, I would love to see if we could help you. That being said, if you know anyone who would benefit from watching this video, please send this over to them. And thank you for being here. And please make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.